Okay, so this is going to be my video log, and today I'm going to cover a couple of things. But the first thing is, my name is Envious Allied. I'm the now official mid laner of the team or whatever. But basically the reason why I'm not using a face cam is mostly because of the fact that, well, I was gonna use a video recorder, but then things got messy, and then I was like, oh, I misplaced my charger, so I was like, fuck it. I was delaying too long on this video anyway, and I really wanted to make sure I cleared the air on a couple of issues before I continued on with my day. Well, actually night, because I'm about to go to bed. But yeah, a couple things that I want to go over, and obviously for this video log, I'm going to put like a different type of gameplay or something. I'll put like, I don't know, whatever I'm playing usually, because I do play games off the stream, but usually for a very short amount of time, then I go to sleep. So it'll probably be like, I don't know, Starcraft, Dragon's Dogma, whatever the fuck I feel like playing currently. But yeah, the biggest thing for me is that what I wanted to cover today was Incont, why he got replaced, the purpose of the change, etc. So I know there's a lot of heated discussions like, oh, Incon got replaced? Fuck you. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, here's basically my side of the story, just because I know in Weekend's video he explained it very poorly, and I know that created a lot of community outlash, and it just wasn't really handled that well, honestly, especially from our side, and very, very partially Incon's side. It could have been handled a lot more maturely, and things got heated, whatever, right? But before I go into anything, I just wanted to say we're on good terms with Incon. I'm still friends with Incon. I just texted the motherfucker, and like, I literally just hosted him like a day ago, so like we're good. We're good, trust. And we'll probably be hanging out in like a future LAN or something whenever he comes down. Hopefully he does. He's got to qualify again because it's on Team Flex. So the first thing was that why he got replaced originally. I figured we might as well start at the root of the problem, and we'll, crack ourselves down or whatever, because a lot of people, what they see is the SPL gameplay. And here's a quick tip for any kind of change regarding any kind of esport. I guarantee you that 90% of the changes are literally because of scrim and like meshing. Generally, it's never like 9 times out of 10 you can usually explain yourself, unless you like completely fuck up in an SPL setting. You can usually explain yourself. Most of the SPL games, when it comes down to, is usually team decision making. I mean, if someone fucks up a play, we're not gonna, kick you off because of it. Like Weekends fed plenty of times in SPL. I've fed plenty of times. Incon's fed, and Incon's also done amazing. So like obviously we would never change the roster based on SPL gameplay alone. There's a lot of other things that go into play. So and also for the people that think that we kicked Incon off because of like fucking Xbox, woo, like, yeah, oh my god, it was such easy money. No wonder they kept the same roster. Okay, one, I just wanted to make sure this was clear that just because we won Xbox isn't the reason why we were going to kick off Incon. And not that we even wanted to kick off Incon, we wanted to keep him as a coach anyway. But two, the biggest thing was that it really, like, we weren't even, when we won Xbox, we weren't even 100% sure if we're going to keep that team, just because we had to work it out. Omega already had a team lined up, so it wasn't like we planned this out all along. Like, we talked about it, sure. We wanted to see how well we meshed together as a team, really, because I obviously have teamed with Omega before, and we separated teams, and it was for the right choices. Like, we decided to go different paths. Now our paths, kind of realigned, and we're back on the same team. It's whatever. But the major point of this video is, why did Incon get kicked or replaced or whatever. So starting from the very beginning, Incon, as you guys know, we were pretty dominant through last year's SPL. We went through a full year, and we ended up first seed, even like towards the end where we started failing a lot. And I was very surprised. It seems like towards the end, we were definitely getting beat a lot. We lost like a million games straight, it felt like, and we were losing the teams that we should really, like, at least for our status of being on top, we should never really lose to. And it mostly came to a couple things. It was mostly lack of synergy. Cyclone's meta was declining, which was like the assassin solo meta, and really it was just like this tanky, nasty meta. Patches weren't coming as frequently, changes weren't happening to the meta, so like it was a very stale meta of just like the most boring tank lineups. A lot of the picks were very predictable. Jean-Qui's running around everywhere. Bologna's just running rampant. Like, fuck me up, fam. We're so here's we'll talk about why did we start losing. So we immediately start losing in the SPL, and this wasn't necessarily Incon's fault. We definitely were falling off, and it was really showing. I don't know why, but like I guess just the ego of being number one, I guess, came to the team and really like mostly showed in like it wasn't like Incon. It was mostly like I want to say the rest of the team. Like overall, I felt like we just weren't taken as seriously, and people were kind of like whatever about the games. We didn't really plan anymore like we used to. We didn't really take it as 100% seriously as I know we could have, and it really showed. We were scrimming eager as scrim partners, and we had a really positive record. I'd say like a really positive record versus them. So like we felt pretty invincible just because they were our scrim partners, and they also were second seed in North America. So like we were like, oh okay, we're I guess we're doing everything correctly. And teams obviously towards the end of the SPL started stepping it up drastically, and really when the time actually mattered. So by the time we got to super regionals, we actually lost like a lot of our games. We lost to Tanaya, we lost to fucking everybody under the sun except like Enemy and like Elevate, which is surprising because Enemy made it to, like second place in Worlds, and it's not like they were any worse. They just I don't know, we just beat them, so it was pretty straightforward. But going on into super regionals, so we kind of went to super regionals and we were preparing for it, and Eager was like, oh well, we're like I think it was just like Zapman was away for a week or two, and it was like literally right before super regionals, so we're like, yo, what the fuck. So we had to make because we knew we weren't going to win super regionals without like hardcore practice. Like we just there was no way. So we had to make the switch to Cloud9, right? So we made the switch to Cloud9, switched it up, and we scrimmed them, and the first thing we noticed, we were getting our ass kicked, which was good. I actually enjoyed. I really did enjoy. I don't mind getting my ass kicked as long as we're learning from it, and we did. We eventually did learn from it, but I'm talking like we got destroyed, like to the point of no return. The biggest things were the fact that we weren't winning a scrim at all. Like we would be, if we can get past the 10-minute mark without being 5k behind, like we were in the clear. So like we definitely felt the pressure of super regionals, because it was just like, fuck, we can't even take a game off Cloud9, forget about super regionals at this point, like whatever. So people were getting a little bit depressed in that area, but I mean it wasn't all bad. We did learn a lot about our mistakes, our habits, and overall our synergy did get a little bit better going to super regionals. I think the biggest culprit of us losing super regionals and not making it to Worlds was lack of preparation, which it just wasn't there. It really wasn't. But the big thing is, that which hasn't been covered by any of the videos I've seen, is that the reason why we switched Incon from support to mid was the fact that like Incon just wasn't cutting it. And it wasn't that he wasn't cutting it performance-wise, he was, it just synergy-wise, it just wasn't working out. Overall, me and Incon were like doing okay in lane. We never were the ones to like stomp lane. Every once in a while we will, but like we were very passive, and we mostly went for later game dual lane compositions, and it just me and Incon, like we had good lane synergy, but it was never like enough. Like we always like did the wrong things or whatever the fuck, whether it be on my end or Incon's end, and I'm not gonna hold them against that. Like sometimes it just doesn't work out, whatever. So like we had a lot of rough patches, and we learned a lot, and I really, like, if it wasn't for Incon, I wouldn't even be the 80 carry I am today. But really came down to team fight synergy. Incon was making a lot of weird decisions, and like we were getting kind of like, I don't know, like, it wasn't like we were fed up with Incon, but we felt like it wasn't getting fixed. And then Kiki brought up the proposal, well, how about I go to support and you go mid, because this isn't working out. Like, and by this isn't working out, I mean, like, we can't make it past the 5-minute mark without, like, everyone feeding their brains out. And it wasn't like it was Incon's fault, but, like, it was stemming off of lack of synergy on setup, on initiation, and this, that, and the other. It was mostly initiation, which is, like, you know, Wikin says that literally 24/7 on stream. Like, initiation, but it's true. No one could go in. We were always the very passive type, especially in the early game. And immediately, Incon was like, okay, I'm down. Let's play some mid, and let's see how the switch goes, because Kiki's naturally a supporty type guy anyway. I mean, he plays Aphrodite. Like, who the fuck plays Aphrodite? So, yeah. like we did that change originally, and it worked out eventually. Like not eventually, but like after a couple games, like we got farmed a little bit because it was a completely new switch, and then yeah, literally just clicked and it worked out. Like Kiki became like really good. We were able to beat like Bear and Jeff in lane for like the first time, and from there we were actually like getting ahead and then throwing the game instead of just getting completely stomped out. It was like we're actually getting a lead somewhere, and now it's like we could potentially win the game. So like things were looking up, and even Incon middle, like Incon and Weekend seemed they were meshing okay. They seemed to have it down. And it was working out because like Kiki was able to initiate and he was able to call things and he was able to go in and even sacrifice himself and really just make the plays that needed to be happen. So it was working out on a synergy level, which people will never ever understand because people will be like, well, he does so well in the SPL. Well, it's not always that, and it'll never always be that. I mean, I just got kicked off the fucking second place world championship team because the guy didn't talk enough. Like I don't think people realize communication and synergy literally take the cake. I would have been replaced 10 million years ago if one, I wasn't one of the best ADCs because no one else plays ADCs for whatever the fuck reason, or no one's good at ADC. I don't know what the case is. And two, my communication skills. My communication skills have carried me throughout the whole, literally 3 years of Smite. So I definitely know the value of good communication, team synergy, and proper planning, especially before a match. So yeah, like so the change was working, and we figured that was our only shot, which wasn't, it shouldn't have been the case. I think if we stayed with the same like positions, we probably could have beaten enemy because Kiki's god pool definitely was bigger than Incon's, and it's not because like Kiki's that much better or whatever. It's just Incon was inexperienced mid. It was silly, but everyone was really confident with the change. But when push came to shove, or whatever the fuck that saying is, whenever the time came at Super Regionals, we were completely caught with our pants down. We had really bad team comps. If you check the past 5 games, it's no rocket science. We had no idea what the fuck we were doing. I mean, we picked Nemesis. We picked Jean-Qui solo. We picked fucking the nastiest shit. We picked Guan Yu Huyi into like Khepri. And like thought we could win lane. Like we legitimately thought we could win the lane. Like we were just, it was over, dude. It was just not gonna work out. So like obviously, planning wise, etc. It wasn't working. We were not winning that Super Regionals. I was very sad about that because literally it came down to like proper planning and this, that, and the other, and people weren't taking it as seriously because we were screaming Cloud9. Like we felt like once again like invincible, and it was just like what the fuck. So I was probably the maddest I've been in a while after Super Regionals. And I was not mad like, oh man, we fucking lost. I was just like disappointed, really, because we could have very easily won. It went to Game 5 against Enemy, and then it went to Game 3 against Eager, and we just couldn't close out the sets. And that was the key word. We couldn't close them out. And it was just like, fuck. We needed that little extra oomph to really just like breeze through everything, and it felt for me, it was just like I'm on snipe all over again, dude. Like I just can't seem to just quite get there. So I was disappointed, but I'd say about a day after, I already was thinking, I was like, well, I could definitely like retire. Like I think it was a good run because I wasn't trying to do a whole nother year of that shit. Like that was pretty Ebola for me. Just like the whole year, and it's a lot of stress, especially being on a professional team. So I definitely didn't have the best of times doing all that shit. It's fun being competitive, but I don't know. It was getting too much for me. Stress wise at least. And then also, like, I wanted to make sure that if we were going to go into season 3, we take it way more seriously, not just get number 1 and just lose it all again due to a meta shift. Like, I wanted to make sure that we were versatile enough to actually just maintain being number 1 so we can actually go to fucking Worlds, because that's really the whole goal. Like, yeah, it's cool being number 1, even like winning the splits or whatever, but you just want to go to Worlds, and you want to have a chance at that $1 million, the fame, the glory. And it's not even so much the money for me. It's more of just winning. It's like, you did it. Like, the reward, it's like the end of a Mario level. Like, it's the flagpole, you get to kiss Peach, get some pussy, move on, right? Like, it's good. So, yeah, like, it was tough, but then, like, the chance of Xbox came, and Omega actually hit us up. He hit up Cyclone. where then Cyclone hit us up about the offer. And at first I wasn't going to do it, but I was thinking, I was like, well, we definitely have a good shot of winning Xbox. And the thing is, it wasn't like Xbox was considered free. It was like we were definitely down on ourselves. I mean, we were losing to everyone, literally everyone under the sun. And to go from like that and like give it a shot on Xbox, it's like you gotta also think of the pride at stake too. It's like if we lose on Xbox too, we are the laughing stocks. Like we are just fucking garbage, right? Like it's especially with like the egos on the team. It's like forget about it. Just fucking forget about it. So, Incon decided he didn't want to. He wanted to practice on PC, and that's fine. Like we had nothing really against that. Maybe other people that I personally I didn't care. I know Incon's just doing he's gonna do the analyst thing and he's gonna stream dream and whatever, right? Like I would have done the same thing if Xbox wasn't an option. I would have been up there on the analyst desk. Yo, what up, Golden Boy? Yo, what's up? But yeah, like for the most part, Incon didn't want to do that. So moving on to Xbox. We talked to Omega, and I haven't teamed with Omega for like 1, 2, whatever years, and he basically told us, he's like, yeah, I'm done with Eager, I have a team lined up, yeah, whatever. And then like the possibility, or like the conversation came along, it was like, well, if this goes really well, we might make this a thing. And I was like, okay, like I could see it, like if it goes like fucking perfectly, whatever, right? Because like at this point we don't know, anything can happen really. Like I mean, like especially considering that XGN like lost to fucking Eager at like the last land, literally anything could happen. And plus it was a new platform too, so it was like we had to learn how to use the controllers, learn the different meta, which it was a completely different meta, completely just, it was like day and night. Like Xbox Smite to PC Smite is day and night difference, so we had to do the whole struggle. So from there, we did it, just to fast forward things, we did it, we boot camped as hard as possible, 8-hour scrims a day, and I would stream Xbox Smite all night, play with everyone, and it wasn't really that fun. Like I definitely will say Xbox wasn't as fun as PC Smite, but it was worth the grind at the end, and I will honestly say we worked way harder for that than any other Xbox team by far. It wasn't even close. Like we put in way more hours, put in way more work, and we figured out the meta and used their meta to our advantage and used their comfort picks to our advantage. And that's just it. Like they were very predictable, and it wasn't that they're bad, but we were number 1 seed for a reason, and it really showed. It was just like we came in and we dominated, and it worked out perfectly. Everyone took it 100% seriously. No matter how many people made fun of us, we still took it 100% seriously, and that was really good, because I know like everyone was just like, oh, Xbox, nice, Xbox PC dropouts, like yeah, all the names and shit come, but like we got the money. We literally made more than like the 3rd place team at fucking Worlds, like whatever, right? Like we did what we had to do, and we became the Xbox World Champions. And I'm still happy about that. As much as people like down it, it's like, well, you know what, shitter, you're on fucking Reddit typing your shit. I'm over here winning the money. Like I don't give a fuck. So yeah, that's my take on, at least on the whole like, oh, PC dropouts. It's like, who really gives a shit? Like who the fuck cares, man? Like you play the game. It's the same fucking game on a different platform. Like what do you fucking do? So yeah, if anything, they should be thanking us. Like we gave them actual competition. Like, and it still boggled me to this day. I was like, wow, like they really didn't expect us to even make it out of open bracket. Like that's fucking, like it was just like, what the fuck? Like I can understand if we were like fucking 8th place SPL, barely scraping by. Like yeah, like we probably wouldn't. I mean, fucking XGN, aka Denial, they didn't make it out of the open bracket, and they beat us right before we went to Super Regionals. They fucking, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, anything could happen, but I don't know, man. Like, you would think that you'd give us a little bit more respect and maybe, like, I don't know, take us into consideration that, yeah, we're pretty good. So, whatever, at least have a little bit of common respect, especially considering, like I don't really care if people respect me. I've been around Smite long enough. I think I've definitely earned the respect, but like you can't underestimate us. Come the fuck on, man. But yeah, so now fast forwarding. I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling a bit, but fast forwarding it to the actual telling Incon part. So obviously, like there was a bit of falling out, and honestly, like I do apologize on Weekend's behalf. He did the video log he released wasn't in the best taste of it. Like, it was really bad. I love Weekend to death, and I definitely think I didn't think he'd handle that poorly, because I was like, fuck me up, dude. Like, rip my streaming career. So I will say, yeah, that is the biggest reason though, that like we went back and we were like, well, Kiki's actually really good at support. He synergizes really well with the team. And we had like a talk, and it was like, well, bench me or Incon. And it was like, well, we could bench Allied, but the thing is, they didn't want to bench me because of communication. Like I said, communication, I worked well with the team. I synergized really well. I'm very flexible. I'm able to do a lot of things. And I'm able to help the team out in many ways that other people can't. Like, and really, I try my best. I always keep my team's best interest in mind. If I know I'm sucking ass, I'm not going to sit there and just sit there and be like, all right, guys, you know, you have to deal with my shit. Like, I'll bench myself out if I have to. If I know I can't keep up, you know, to par with the other players, I will gladly bench myself out. Like, I don't mind. But when it came down to it, it was just like, we'd rather work with me, just because of that alone. Even if my mid skills weren't up to date or up to par, just because like I was very easy to work with. And then we gave Incon the offer, which was like basically we give him like the 10%. And at first it was only me, but then we decided to all do it as a team, like, you know, help Incon out because he's given so much to us. And really, like, we valued Kiki's support skills because, well, once again, remember that Incon on support towards the end, he didn't synergize really that well with us, which is why the whole switch began with, you know, in the whole blah, blah, blah. But that's why it all began with at all, really, because like Incon just didn't synergize that well. So, you know, it didn't make sense to, you know, kick Kiki off and bring Incon in because, well, Kiki actually synergized well. He made stuff happen. So, really, it just kind of left Incon without a spot just because the team was like, oh, well, you know, communication-wise, synergy-wise, we want Allied. But then it's like, you know, Incon, well, fuck. Now that means Incon's, like, he doesn't have a spot to go. It's not like we can, and like, a lot of people are like, well, why don't you kick off Weekend? It's like, as much as Weekend can feed the jungle, you try to, there's no way you can add anyone else in to really replace Weekend because Weekend has the shot calling, the communications, and the synergy to help the team out and get things done that needs to be done. I mean, there's so many junglers that play very passive and timid, and Weekend's not like that. And realistically, the more aggressive junglers get the things done. Like, you can intimidate other junglers, you can definitely set the pace of the game, and Weekend's good at doing that, which is Weekend's value. That's his strength. And it's like, you can't replace him with Incon because Incon doesn't fucking jungle. Like, what is Incon gonna play jungle, Gab? Like, no, motherfucker. Like, you can't have that. You can't have Cyclone not be on the team either because, well, he's the hyper carry of the team. It's like, he's literally like one of the he's like the top 3 reasons why we got to #1 seed as soon as we kicked off Jerb. Like, the second we kicked off Jerb, we were like #1. Like, literally. And it was all because of Cyclone. Like, not all because of Cyclone, but, like, he was pretty much the major reason. It was such a huge upgrade, and it still is to this day. Most people are like, oh, yeah, Cyclone fell off, Cyclone fell off. It's like he sold Salt Machine, like, 5 times at the Super Regionals. We lost the game, but he still did it. It's not like he doesn't have what it takes. It's just not his meta. Whatever. It's the same thing. It's like, people are like, man, Alat's the best hunter. Alat's the best hunter. It's like, I got a pentakill at lane when 80 carries were overpowered. It's not my meta right now. I can't carry as hard as I would like to. They nerfed, oh my god, they nerfed Shiba Lanka. That was basically my ace in the hole. Freya's unusable, and Vulcan 80 carry isn't a thing. Fuck me up, right? Like, that's my god pool. So, it just wasn't in the team's best interest to keep Incon on the main starting roster. And that's really the too lazy didn't read part. It didn't work out. He didn't synergize well in support. He didn't work well in mid anyway, and people preferred me. And I even said to Incon, I was like, if I just decide to fucking feed my brains out, then you know what? You can take my spot. And he considered the offer. And then, yeah, basically we got to where we are now, where he's on Team Flex. So, I don't know. But obviously me and Incon and the team and Incon are still in good standings. Like, everything's good there. It's really, it's just unfortunate because I feel like everyone got the bad light of the situation. No one took the time to actually carefully explain the whole thing to begin with because, well, like, there was a lot of misinformation in general. Like, no one really manned up and said why, and I'm just gonna do it now. I might even get hate for it, but it's the truth. It just didn't work out, man. It just didn't. And you know, obviously it breaks my heart because it's like I've been with Incom forever. It just didn't. So obviously I wish the best of luck to him, and obviously his stream, because you know, I mean, I was the one that basically helped him out to begin with back when he had like 2 viewers. So forget about it. Like he's a big boy now. He's way bigger than me. He's got like literally, I have like 1/8 his subs now. Like motherfucker is rich, filthy rich, just swimming in the money. So he'll be good. Trust me. As much as people are like, oh, Incon this, Incon, he'll be good when he sees that Twitch paycheck at the end of the month. But regardless, going into season 3, I think everything's pretty well. The team, we're looking good, and we're just trying to really figure out the meta right now. So obviously things could still change. I could end up back on 80 carry, who knows, depending on like you know, the way things work out. Like I don't know, like the meta is still completely new. It could be like tanks are dead and Omega's out of a career, Kappa, but who knows, who knows really. So I'm just kind of waiting and practicing for season 3, and I hope you guys, you know, at least for the people that I'm going to submit this video to that subscribe to my channel, hope you guys aren't too disappointed in me and too disappointed in the Switch. Well, I still play 80 carry on occasion, obviously for fun, but now I do have to be a big boy and practice mid. So I just do what's for the best interest of the team. And before I go on any longer, I would just like to say, as far as future plans, I'll probably do more video logs like this. I'm probably going to overlap a video log onto like an actual gameplay and go from there. And obviously, I'm also going to do educational videos, which will basically be video logs, but I'm actually explaining a point. You know, like how to be on an SPL team, how to get past bronze 5, etc, etc, etc. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, you can catch me on Twitch, on Twitter, on Facebook. All the information should be down below. Thank you guys, and I'm sorry I couldn't actually show a video with my fucking face on it, but what can you do? Thank you guys once again. Take it easy. Peace.